Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats, turn your attention to the stage, and please welcome Wireless History Foundation Executive Director, Jennifer Snyder.
As I was preparing for this evening, this feeling of just gratitude kind of overwhelmed me. And the Wireless History Foundation Board and I are just so grateful to see you all here tonight. And we're so grateful that we can all be here together enjoying each other's company. Thank you. So thank you so much. We're so grateful you all are here to help us celebrate in person and help induct this new class of 2021 Hall of Fame members. It's just so exciting. You know, the past months have been so challenging for so many, and mobile and wireless technologies have been instrumental in preserving our connection with each other. And so many of the people in this room tonight are the ones that make those connections possible. So I'm so grateful to be here and so honored to be in a room with so many legends and pioneers. We're really part of an industry that makes a huge difference and impact. Tonight would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors, many of whom have been supporting this event and the foundation for over a decade. So please join me in thanking them. And with that, Anterix, thank you so much. AT&T, thank you. Crown Castle, thank you so much. Eagle River, Mr. and Mrs. Lawrence D. Garvey Fund, Ookla, and Verizon. We also have Spectrum sponsors, our frequency sponsors, and our connection sponsors. Thank you all so much for being here. Tonight would also not be possible without the passion and conviction of Linda Levens. She spends more time and thought making tonight perfect. So thank you, Linda. Over the past year, one of the initiatives we've launched is our Board of Influencers. So the board is comprised of 7 movers and shakers that are working in the wireless industry currently and have made a commitment to preserve the wireless history. Their mission is to help us amplify and carry out the mission, initiatives, and efforts that the foundation is committed to. I'd like to introduce you to some of these great people that have made this commitment. And I'm going to ask that they stand up just for a quick minute so that way we can see them in the room and they can just be recognized. And they're Stephanie Bauer-Marshall, Todd Schleckaway, Brian Darr, Brian Tremont, Christy Young, and Brad Blanken. Thank you so much. Thank you for your commitment. And then also in the room tonight, we have more than 20 Hall of Fame members here to help us welcome the 4 trailblazers that are joining this esteemed group of pioneers and innovators that comprise the Wireless Hall of Fame. So Pat, Mark, Jim, and Ari, thank you so much for being here. And thank you to all of the friends, family, colleagues, and supporters that are here to help us induct this great group of individuals. And so with that, I'd like to welcome Brad Blanken up to the stage so we can do a Veterans Day salute.
Thanks, Jen. As you're probably aware, this evening's event is taking place on Veterans Day. The Wireless History Foundation would like to acknowledge the importance of this day in recognizing all those in the military, past and present, and thank them for their service. I would like to take an extra moment to acknowledge that it's because of my military service that I'm standing in this room. As many of you know, I joined CTIA shortly after leaving the Marines, and the primary reason that I was hired was being a veteran. I have retired Marine Colonel Ed Hall, along with Chairman Wheeler, thank you, Tom, helping me along the way, and I really appreciated their help. As a former Marine, I understand the dedication and the training and the risks that each man and woman goes through during their time in uniform. Thank you to all the veterans, those here tonight, and those who we know who have spent time in the armed forces. We thank and appreciate all the sacrifices you've made for us and for our country. If you're a veteran, please stand so we can recognize you. Let's give a round of applause to all our veterans. Thank you. And now, please enjoy your meal. The program with the awards presentations will resume after dinner. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, turn your attention to the stage once more to welcome Wireless Hall of Fame members Dale Hatfield and Ted Rappaport, here to announce the new Wireless History Foundation Scholarship Initiative.
Good evening. Dale and I have the very good pleasure tonight of announcing the creation of a new Wireless History Foundation Scholarship Program. At its fall meeting, the Foundation's Board of Directors approved a new scholarship initiative that will begin in the next 1 or 2 academic years. The board is currently assembling a committee, including Hall of Fame members who will assist in framing this new scholarship program. The foundation will also seek input from industry, as well as organizations, in determining the criteria and the parameters of the scholarships. They'll be defined, and as the administration of the scholarship program is determined, the Wireless Hall of Fame is going to move forward with this grand initiative.
The board's preliminary discussion envisions scholarships for undergraduates and/or graduate students pursuing a course of study in or related to the wireless industry, including areas such as law, policy, and engineering. The WHF will review scholarship programs already established by several wireless companies and foundations and seek input from these entities in launching this program. As members of the Wireless Hall of Fame and as academics affiliated with wireless programs in engineering, computer science, and medicine at NYU, in the case of Ted, and in law, technology, and entrepreneurship at the University of Colorado at Boulder, in my case, we know from direct personal experience what a difference scholarships can make to the lives of students, especially diverse students. Again, we are delighted to be here tonight to announce the creation of the this Wireless History Foundation program.
You'll be hearing more about this in the coming months, and if you or your organization would like more information, please contact Jen Snyder. Jen, you're back here. She's waving her hands. Please talk with Jen, the Wireless Hall of Fame Executive Director. She'd love to hear from you about this exciting new initiative for the wireless industry. And with that, we want to thank you. And Dale, are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Let's begin the presentation of the awards.
When we were starting to get into the wireless business and cellular, we actually met with our local bank. We had worked with them for a number of years. I mean, we've been in Pulaski for a long time, and when I brought up the fact that we wanted a loan, my friend there, who had been a good friend, said, well, Pat, I know you're Irish and I know you're lucky, but this wireless thing isn't going anyplace. And then about 3 or 4 years later, he comes back and he said, okay, I know I messed up last time we talked about this, but I'm really open to having any kind of loan you might need. We'll be happy to fulfill that for you. So I thought that's interesting. It's tables are turned.
And now, please welcome the former president and CEO of Bluegrass Cellular, Ron Smith.
Good evening. With the lottery of the cellular licenses back in 1989, the rural licenses, I was given the opportunity to start up the company That became Bluegrass Cellular. And in 1992, I joined the CTIA Board of Directors, where I first met Pat Reardon. Pat and I have spent the last 3 decades serving together on the boards of CTIA, CCA, ACG, where we've worked to compete against our larger industry brethren. This evening, you're going to hear about Pat Reardon as an industry visionary, and he is. But before I tell you about that, I want you to know him as a friend and peer in managing a small wireless carrier over 30 years. That statement alone, managing a small wireless carrier over 30 years, is nothing short of a miracle. The fact he has competed effectively in our industry is because he's one of the best businessmen you will ever know. Only one person has continuously served on the CTI Board of Directors since 1992. Pat has witnessed and was a participant in every industry issue in that time. His voice is respected for his historic perspective, his insight into the needs of the industry, and his ability to establish relationships across competitive lines. The best example of that was when Pat became the CTIA chairman in 2012. He campaigned for the expansion of the cybersecurity expertise within the association. The world-class cybersecurity resources available at CTIA today is a tribute to Pat's vision. On the other hand, you should know that serving with Pat was fun. Although Pat is a Green Bay Packer fan and I grew up in Chicago, somehow Pat and I are still friends. We spent the last 3 decades on these industry boards observing the comings and goings of our industry leaders. Unlike our larger brethren, we didn't go through corporate restructurings every time that there was a change in the weather, or if you had musical chairs at the corporate level. Frankly, industry boards can be entertaining if you don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to have your job. Over the years, I began collecting what I called quotes from Pat. While not as entertaining as Yogi Berra's, Pat can put in the essence of an idea into a turn of phrase. Now, this may not make a lot of sense to some of the bigger guys, but how do you negotiate with a large carrier? With paranoia in your back pocket. 30 years after I first met him, Pat continues to establish working relationships within the industry and fighting the good competitive fight. He continues to establish links within his community, treating, as we would say at Bluegrass Cellular, his customers as good friends. So it is an honor to introduce my friend, Pat Reardon, one of the best businessmen I've ever known, a wireless industry visionary, and to many, a performer of miracles.
I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. Pretty average life, real nice community to live in. And my dad was the executive director of the Wisconsin State Telephone Association. So before that, it was kind of run by the local telephone companies, and they had somebody representing them in there. The example my dad gave, I mean, he was always about respecting other people, and that kind of became my way of living, is you have to respect the person you're dealing with. You don't know what they've been going through. He had to deal with 200 companies, so he had to say, how do we get things done for everyone involved? And I recognized the value because I had seen my dad and what he could do through associations and lobbying and how important that was. So I definitely took to and made use of the associations, and I ended up heading up a number of those. When cellular became known that they were going to be giving away 50% of the cellular spectrum to telephone companies and 50% would go to anyone else that would apply for it, it happened that we had 2 tickets, if you will, Brown County and Appleton area. We got together as a group, all of the multi-ticketed people, companies. I ended up becoming chairman of this ad hoc group that was going to decide how it was going to go. And I think the reason they appointed me chairman is that I was the smallest company that they had, and they didn't trust each other. So they thought, okay, let's let Pat do this. We added up all the numbers of all the population, and then we said, okay, Ameritech, you've got this many numbers. You know, where do you want those? What do you want to run? It was about 2 o'clock in the morning when someone started calling someone else's mother dirty names, and I said, I think we're going to stop right here. care, but I want you back here at 8 o'clock in the morning and let's get this resolved. I mean, it almost came to blows, so it was a good time to break, and when they came back, we had it settled within, I think, an hour and a half. My brother Rob turns to me and said, "Pat, what the heck do we want those 1% for?" And I said, "Rob, we don't know anything about this. I'm going to those meetings and find out." And that was how we got into it.
I first met Pat. I became the Executive Vice President of CTIA for Legislative Affairs, and Pat was on the board. It was pretty clear that everyone not only knew Pat, but they respected him and they liked and wanted to hear what his thoughts were.
I pushed for moving to Washington, D.C., because if we're going to influence politics on a national level, you've got to be there. So we changed that process. RCA became a huge voice for the rural carriers, which is so critical. We had difficulty with roaming, so I contacted Lowell McAdam with Verizon. They were getting ready to build a tower in one of our areas, and I said, "Look, roam on us wherever we are that you're not at. You don't have to build out, and we will roam on you." He thought about it for a while, and he said, "Sounds like a win-win situation." The groundwork that we set made the difference. 2012, I took over as chairman of the board for CTIA. One of the big things I think I did when I came to CTIA is we developed a vision statement. The other thing that I really had to work at, an executive in charge of cybersecurity. It has to be an officer level position. It wasn't a big thing, and I thought it should have been. And we took it to the executive committee, and I had to explain why it was important. When AT&T and Verizon thought that it was a really good idea, somehow it kind of got through. I think it's really helped us a lot, and it's given us a better appearance to the public because they know that we're really focused on this.
He knew the value of getting a group of regional and small carriers together and using that as the platform to make salient policy arguments that are so logical that they're hard to disagree with. He was not only a voice for the regional carriers, but he was sort of a visionary for the regional carriers. And I think he showed that in every aspect of his work. And people look to him for, not only solutions, but, hey, Pat, what's the next challenge that we need to be, ready for?
My wife Kathleen and I had 5 children. She passed away in cancer. I remarried in 2003 to a wonderful woman, and she had 4 sons. So we have 9 children together. We have 7 grandsons, and they all come from my side. And I told my wife, "You're in charge of the girls. Get your guys busy." To be recognized by your peers, I don't think there's anything that's more heartwarming. I love what I do. I love the organization. I love the fact that we can make things happen, not just locally, but for the nation. And I certainly appreciate the honor that has been given to me. Must be time for my speech. My thanks to Ron, Charlie Thompson, and the Wireless History Foundation. It is said that the shorter the acceptance speech, the better. Perhaps the best speech is thank you and enjoy the night. I will keep that in mind. I am humbled, for there is no greater honor in business or any endeavor than to be recognized by your peers for a job well done. I also believe my induction recognizes the significance of small carriers across this country. We as small carriers serve areas with lots of land, difficult terrain, and few people, little traffic, and it's expensive to build out. Some examples are Grandfather Mountain, North Carolina, Shiprock, New Mexico, Embarrass, Wisconsin, First Mesa, Arizona, Dead Horse, Alaska, and South Range, Michigan. You may never have heard of these places, but our small carriers have, and they actually know people that live there. Why on earth do we do this? And why do our customers remain loyal to us even when a national carrier gets around to serving one of our communities? Both questions have the same answer. My close friend and mentor, Jim Dwyer, the Hall of Famer, would have said extraordinary must be the standard of service for small carriers. We are serving our friends, our neighbors, and our communities. Nothing less is acceptable. Are these small carriers important assets to our country? You can make your own judgment. As far as I'm concerned, the answer is clearly yes. I would at this time would ask that the members of Jim Dwyer's family to stand and be recognized. Jim, John, Chris Dwyer, and Steve Zitnick, please stand up. They're still in the business of providing extraordinary service through their company, Interop Technologies. With them is also my brother and partner in crime, Rob Rudin, my niece, Beth Harper, my future daughter-in-law, Ivana Payne, and my CEO, Mark Nazi. Please stand. The greatest gift the good Lord has given each of us is our family. I would like to introduce a few more of mine. First, I will ask my bride of 18 years, Karen Van Gemmert, to stand up to be recognized. Karen? We have 9 children between us. For those old enough to remember, that is larger than the Brady Bunch. And oh yes, we do have family drama. I thank Karen for getting us through many of those. Next are my daughter Bridget Rudin and her son Finn, my daughter Kate Harris, my stepson Nick Ribeiro, and his bride Maria. Please stand up. Thank you all for coming. The 3 words I cherish most are God, family, and country. The 3 virtues that are most important in my life are faith, hope, and love. Faith in God and people, hope in the future, and love of God and the respect for every person I meet. But enough of my preamble. Now on to my speech. Thank you, and enjoy the night.
So one day I'm standing outside the rink, and my son plays hockey. There's a thing going on between a couple companies. The verbiage was getting a little bit more heated. So I got sick and tired of the commentary that was going on, so I was like this, and I typed out, "I'm tired of walking on eggshells with these guys. We should do bada bing, bada boom." And I wrote this down. And of course I'm shaking like this. I meant to hit reply, but I hit reply all. And it went to the guy who I said, "I'm tired of walking on eggshells around this guy." I called him and said, "That wasn't meant for you. I won't take back a word of it." So I've learned never to use a cell phone to conduct heavy communications business in an ice hockey rink.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Executive Chairman of Anterix and Wireless Hall of Fame member, Morgan O'Brien.
Good evening. A quiz. Which of the following names does not belong on this list? A, Leopold Stokowski. B, Arturo Toscanini. C, Leonard Bernstein. D, Mark Crosby. The correct answer is A, Leopold Stokowski. Leopold does not include the letter A, while Arturo, Leonard, and Mark do. But wait, some of you may cry. The answer should have been D, Mark Crosby, because the first three names are celebrated orchestra conductors. And Mark Crosby could not carry a tune in the shower. But no, I reply, there's more than one kind of music. There's more than one kind of orchestra, and more than one kind of celebrated conductor. Mark Crosby belongs firmly in this firmament. To conduct is to lead from out front, to bring out the best of every instrument, to pull together as one a disparate group of virtuosos, and thus to propel an experience that's as much sensual as intellectual. Leading the Enterprise Wireless Association, Mark perfected his artistry, pulling together dozens of industries that populate the private radio world, players that are as disparate as Ford Motor Company and the city of Altoona. And Maestro Mark's conducting goes back 50 years. Think of it. In 1971, 50 years ago, a few small-time burglars broke into the Watergate Hotel. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier had their first fight. Disney World opened, and Fred Smith started a company called FedEx. And in 1971, the price of gasoline was 40 cents. So much has changed. On the other hand, 50 years ago, the preeminent telecom lawyer in D.C. was Dick Wiley. So some things never change. 5 decades have left an imprint, of course. And in that time, Mark has gone from impossibly handsome, just watch the film to come, to merely pretty hot for his age. Mark, welcome to Wireless Pioneers. And do not feel intimidated by your peers. By their own admissions, these men and women stood on the shoulders of the giants to accomplish their feats. How much harder for you, where so often you had to stand on the toes of those same giants? From my happy vantage, for 50 years as a piccolo player in your grand orchestra, I celebrate your accomplishments and congratulate you most warmly. Thank you.
I was born in Sacramento. I'm giving away my age, but that was the mid-'60s when the Beach Boys and the beaches, and you'd skip school and go to Santa Cruz, and it was just incredible life. And I went to military school, straight out of California public schools to a military school with a uniform in the mid-'60s in the middle of Vietnam. So I got my degree in finance. At the time, the company was known as Special Industrial Radio Service Association. I was given a part-time job on vacation, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and you like to help us with sorting and filing with FCC licenses and stuff. And I said, why not? Because I needed the money, and that's where I started. When I graduated from college, the people at CIRSA said, would you like to become our Director of Finance and Administration? Back in the day, the commission allocated spectrum based on what you were doing. There was, in our space, 21 radio services. These were all separate radio services, and they had their own frequencies, and there was no sharing. The commission eventually said we should consolidate the radio service because the technology today makes it irrelevant what you're using it for. A whole bunch of people, they go, you mean I got to coordinate everything that I get? And they go, I don't want to do it. 7 of them called me. Will you take over and help me do what I want to do? I go, yeah. So we grew from here to here, and we could coordinate all these frequencies. You can't do this manually. We've taken on a huge responsibility, But what was I missing? I have to automate this. I have to automate this. And again, it's all based on finance. We're losing our shirt with this manual stuff. I hired a software consultant. We went and Hewlett-Packard. It was a great decision. We were the first, I think, to automate frequency selection. The need to further automate what we do has never gone away. Something else that's very innovative and spectrum efficient. It's actually Anterix to create private LTE networks using 900. Again, it was like history sort of repeats itself. A lot of people in the industry go, oh no, this is no good. You can't do that. And this is our spectrum. I look at the spectrum, I go, there are parts of the country, 70 to 80% of the country, there's nobody using it. After it became available in 1985, it's not being used. Let's use it for something that might help EWA's members. They need private LTE. You still need the radios, but they're still going to need private LTE.
Mark's an extraordinary advocate for the private wireless industry. He's been a leader in this space for decades. I first came into touch with him when I was at the FCC, and he was a passionate advocate for those interests. And through every iteration of his career, and of the industry for that matter, Mark has evolved with them.
People go, but I like my analog. And I go, yeah, okay, and we're not going to take analog away from you, but digital propagates a little bit better. And lo and behold, the infrastructure and the devices you're buying have innovative applications that you can't get on an analog system, like data, tracking, GPS, things like this. You can't get on an analog system. If I were the board of directors, would I have taken a chance on a 24-year-old to run this thing? I look back on that now and I go, I don't know if I would have, because 24-year-olds are usually very full of themselves, which I was, but they took a chance on it. I've been blessed with many, many, many friends and colleagues in business that I know I can count on if I ask them. You don't have that when you're in your 20s or 30s. It takes you a while to develop these friendships that help you, sustain you as you go on. People before me, the awardees are like, they're the icons, right? These are the guys, right? And I go, let me into Augusta National, really, in this important thing. So it's big, and it's very meaningful to me, and I respect it, and obviously very honored and humbled by it.
I very much endorse the admission of Mark Crosby into the Wireless Hall of Fame. Clearly, he has been a wireless icon over many, many years, and a very great guy as well.
Oh my goodness, wow. Morgan, thank you. I have got a lot of his. Most of this acceptance is thank yous, because no one walks this road alone. I have had so many friends and mentors, and I think I owe them a thank you tonight. But I want to obviously thank Morgan for that. Do you remember back in like 1980, you and I, and there was a couple other, we formed a group called Young Guns or Spring Chickens. You remember? And we were all, you had to be in this club, you had to be 35 or less. And so Morgan and I qualified at the time, and a couple other folks, but we had a motto. Remember what the motto was? One cold winter, and we're going to be able to take over. So I don't know if that happened, but we're still here. We're still here. It's true. It was fun. I want to congratulate fellow honorees Ari Fitzgerald, Pat Reardon, and Jim Tracy for your selection into the Wireless Hall of Fame. I know you're out there. It's a privilege to be recognized with you this evening. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be recognized with you. I want to thank Mr. Wiley, Brian Tremont, Charlie Townsend for their kind words and endorsements. I don't say this very often, but I'm speechless for those endorsements and things. It's really awesome.
This is indeed an incredible honor, and I'm truly humbled. How can you not be? I now know how Bob Uecker must have felt when he was inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's like, wow, I'm here. How did this happen, right? So it's really good. And as I said, no one achieves success without the assistance from friends and mentors. I did not walk this 50-year path alone. I had the benefit and support of many, many, many folks and along the way. So at the risk of failing to mention a critical friend or an advocate, I apologize in advance. But from the old days, I want to remember Charlie Burns, Vince Ahern, Ken Knight, Ben Friedland, and Wayne Black. I miss you all and recall your wise counsel and friendship almost every day. I also have a couple little stories. I'll keep them short. A lot of people thought that Jay Kitchen and I didn't like one another. It's absolutely not true. We were fierce competitors in business, but personally, we were great friends. We'd play golf together, we'd ski together, we'd even have a few drinks together. But Jay and I were friends, and he gave me a really big vote of confidence once. We were in Dallas. I remember it like it was yesterday. We had stayed up too late. We had an 8 a.m. speech before a crowd as awesome as this. And I went up to Jay, and I go, Jay, I haven't prepared anything. I usually prepared speech. And he looked at me, and he laughed at me, and he goes, Mark, you don't need a prepared speech. Just start talking. You know more than the audience. I never forgot that. And I don't think I gave a written speech ever again. But Jay was a very good friend. I miss him. I also want to recognize Len Kolsky, because back in the day, a lot of business, I know Mr. Wiley knew this, a lot of business was transacted on golf courses with the FCC. It's too bad we can't do that anymore. You always let them win a little bit, but that's okay. But back in the 70s, you know, I'm wet behind the ears. Like I said, I don't know a thing. I'm just trying to find my way. And Len gave me the best endorsement that he could possibly give me. He said, we're having lunch at Harvey's. I don't know the restaurant's place. I remember some of the older folks who remember Harvey's. We're having a lunch. Val Williams is going to be there, Rhett McMillan, Mike Meehan, me, and there was a couple other folks. He goes, we want you to be there too. And I go, oh my God, oh my God. And when I got there, he said, now Mark, listen, don't say too much. I go, I promise, I promise. But it was an endorsement, right, that you need. Len was the guy back in those days, and get an invitation to that power lunch from Len was quite something, and I never forgot that either. All right, so I'm about done, and today, you know, I still have, 50 years later, I still have dear friends like Morgan and others, and advocates, and I want to thank, you don't have to stand table, but at EWA's table, I have Liz Sachs, who, EWA is great because of Liz. She keeps all my blogs and all my speeches, yes. You should see what she does to some of my blogs. No, you can't say that. And dear friends, Bill Landis, David Reeves, Bobby McGowan, Eric Hill, Robin Cohen, I know, and my wife, Gay. Now, she's got some sort of magic thing. I come home, she takes one look at me, and she knows whether to say, did you have a good day? Or, I'll get the ice. Mostly it's get the ice, but that's okay. So, thank you, honey, for knowing what my needs are. And finally, I want to thank again the Wireless Hall of Fame nominating committee, Liz Maxfield, Linda Levins, and Jennifer Snyder, for the opportunity to be here tonight with all of you and all those that helped my nomination. This recognition will truly be cherished. Thank you very much.
We had a fundraiser for the Tower Family Foundation at Nate Unite down in Orlando, and we had to have an auction. But we started pricing auctioneers and they were running about 30%. We couldn't find anybody to do it, so I went to auctioneering college to be able to auction off some of the things. And my grandson and I graduated from the Western College of Auctioneering in Billings, Montana. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Somebody give me 60 now. You don't really talk fast, you just shorten the words.
And now, we are pleased to welcome FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr.
Thanks. It's so good to see you all tonight. Thank you so much to the Wireless History Foundation. I think as we're all slowly emerging from our Zoom rooms and from COVID, it really is heartwarming to get to see so many of you in person. Even people on all sorts of different sides of the aisle, even Chairman Tom Wheeler. It was a fantastic time to catch up with you and get to say hi, and no dissents in that conversation, which was a rarity. I also want to say welcome to the 45-minute keynote portion of tonight's events. So buckle up. This will go a lot slower than you think. I want to express my thanks and appreciation again to sort of fellow FCC colleagues that are here, Chairman Wheeler, as I mentioned, Chairwoman Clyburn, who is here, Commissioner O'Reilly, Chairman Kennard. It's so good to, again, just to get to spend time with all of you once again. And congratulations, obviously, to Jim Tracy. Jim is someone that I've been able to become a very good friend with. I spent time out at Washington with his crew at Legacy Telecom. Got to climb a 100-foot tower up above Snoqualmie Pass with one of his crews, which is about halfway between Seattle and Spokane. And spending time up in the air with some of his crew, out of earshot of Jim, let me get sort of the straight information on him and the respect that he has from his crew, even when they don't know that they are talking about him, is palpable. I think also emblematic of that is he brought some of his crew here tonight. And actually, one of the guys that I climbed with on that particular climb, Dave, is here with his wife as well. And I think it just goes to show how Jim just looks out and takes care of his crews. Jim is also here with his wife, Sarah, 41 years. Congratulations. 5 kids, 14 grandchildren. Jim is very much a man of faith, gives back to his community. He is the founder of the Tower Family Foundation that looks out after tower climbers. He helped start the National Wireless Safety Alliance, which provides certifications to tower climbers. And this is an area where I think, as an industry, we can continue to do better. And I think this is a great group tonight. We got carriers here, we got tower owners here. And I think we need to do a better job of insisting on having a higher percentage of certified tower climbers at these sites. And it's more than just requiring it in paper. We need audits, and we need to make sure that the crews are doing it so that Dave and people like him get to go home safely and injury-free. There's a new study that shows that when we are insisting on certificated climbers, it results in a 3-to-1 reduction on injuries in site. So I think one of the most things that we can do as an industry, from tower owners to carriers, is let's do a better job requiring high percentages of certificated climbers and actually auditing to make sure that they do it. Jim is also a instrument-rated pilot. He has 1,750 hours of flight time. I mentioned that to Mr. Wiley, Chairman Wiley. He said that's a good billable hour a year, but maybe get it up a little bit higher. He starts to make a little bit more profit if you get above 1,800 hours, as I remember from my time at that firm. But I want to express my thanks and appreciation to Jim. He's a wonderful leader, as I said, very respected by his tower crews, respected by his peers, a leader in NATE, the Tower Construction Association, and obviously getting recognized by this peer group as well is a tremendous honor for him and a great recognition for everything that he does in this industry. Again, we're coming out of COVID. Our lives were turned upside down. We all turned to the internet, and it's because people like Jim and his crews, Dave and other people, that got the toughest jobs done. These networks don't run on magic. They don't run on pixie dust. I recently saw a quote from Senator Kennedy about things not running on unicorn urine. I don't know if that's a little bit too controversial for this crowd, but it's not unicorn urine either. It's the hard work of these tower crews and people like Jim that stand up these companies, a family business, and grow it and expand it and kept all of us online and connected during COVID. So congratulations, Jim.
I really never had a career path that I said, hey, here's where I want to go. Every job, progressively, either taught me better how to care for people or how to not take care of people, and both are extremely valuable lessons. So, my first exposure to cellular was doing EMI and RFI shielding for radios. I got led to a structural building products, and that led me out to Seattle. My son, my partner Ryan, got into the trade of cell towers, and I went out to his job site.
And that night at dinner when I got home, he said, hey man, you gotta quit your job. And I'm like, why would I quit my job? I like what I do, they pay me well. He said, you're gonna kill yourself. You should find another job. You know, your life's not worth giving up. I said, well, if you think you're so much better at this, then why don't we do it ourselves?
And that's the day that Legacy was born at our dinner table.
We got done with that first job, and the quality of our workmanship was showed on a slideshow at the carrier's contractor meeting, and they said, hey, this is the kind of work that we want to see when we go to your job sites. And the origination of the company was about my safety per se, and has developed into the safe work practices. I mean, there's no use in making a ton of money if you can't go home and spend it.
Hi, my name is Jim Tracy, and I'm with the membership committee in NATE. I'm president of Legacy Telecommunications, and we found that NATE is a great value for our company, and we think you will too.
Well, when we started Legacy, my first response was, gee, I have to find out a little bit more about this industry. The first check we cut was to NATE. I kept getting encouraged from really the founders of NATE that I should get involved, and they valued the business experience that I had from other industries, and so they kind of drew me in.
The stuff that Jim's been involved with has been taking homegrown beliefs that we hold here at Legacy true to our heart and just sharing those with the world.
I was able to serve as the vice chair under Pat Sipo. I got to hang out with Bill Carlson, who's also a member of the Hall of Fame, and an incredible volunteer board who all of them deserve to be sitting in the chair that I am today. Our folks are amazing. They're physically capable, they're smarter than we are. They go out in the field and they do things that other people can't be capable of, and they do it with a laptop or with a piece of expensive sweep gear, 150, 200 feet in the air, and they usually hit the ground and they're smiling, and because they do it in all types of weather. Our people are amazing. We had a contractor come to us and say, hey, we had an accident. My attorney says I can't help my employee because that's some type of implication, and so I'm going to get some of you guys to help us. I saw this outpouring of support from our industry, from this NATE family, towards an employer who said, no, we get it, and we want to help you take care of your employee. 97 cents on the dollar goes from the pocket of the donors into the pocket of the families who are in tremendous need.
Part of the motivation behind Jim getting involved in the NWSA was to make this industry more professional. Then you could hire somebody immediately if you knew they had this kind of a credential. So setting up a whole system to make it a legitimate credential that was portable.
But what that does is offers the individual worker dignity. It's that employee's personal credential. We help them get it, but they earned it. It's kind of embarrassing to be honored like this because if you look back in my history, my second grade teacher told my parents to send me to special needs school. And so that's a vindication. I had, 6 brothers and they always painted me as the lazy one. I barely graduated from college. It is certainly an honor, a privilege, and I'm so grateful to people like Paula Nurnberg and Todd Schleckaway who really have been the rock stars at NATE. I mean, I got a whole lot of people trying to make me look good, and that's not an easy job. Thanks for the kind words, Brendan. I appreciate you lying. He promised to. Wow. Number one, thank you, God. Whatever gifts, talents, abilities that I possess are the product of a creator, not of me. I promise you that. 1979, I was in Proctor, Minnesota, and I walked through a friend's house, and my eyes scanned, but I was on my way to Alaska. I was going to weld in the pipeline. And I looked right, and there was nothing there for me, and I looked left, and there was a beautiful girl in a gold jumpsuit. Now, 41 years later, I can tell you that she's sitting right here tonight. But when she married me, I was a dumb welder, and she did it without a contingency plan or plan B. I'm not here unless she's there. So give my wife, Sarah, a hand. This is truly a team award, and team awards come in three fashions for me: past, present, and future. And it belongs to those teams and not to me. It might be my name on it, but it's their award. My son Ryan sitting over there, dude, he's 22 years into a 5-year commitment. And he hasn't given up on us yet. Jamie is my daughter. She's sitting there, and she actually had the audacity to believe I should stand on this stage. So thanks, guys. My mom and dad taught me, my dad taught me hard work. That was training through trauma. And my mom taught me to be grateful, and that's because she was kinder than anybody I know. So thanks to them, they're looking down today. Team legacy. Thanks for the power of sticking together. Team Nate, the board members, the volunteer board members who give up so much, the volunteers, but the little staff is the engine that could, and so you're so appreciated. The Tower Family Foundation is something that defines what our industry's heart looks like when somebody has nothing back that they can give you. There's nothing left to offer. They're having the worst day of their lives. And we step in and we say, we're not going to make your day any better, but we might make it not less bad. And so here's some money to help you through that time. The shout out that I have for the Tower Family Foundation, I know it's probably politically incorrect, but T-Mobile, thank you so much. They gave $700,000 this year from their golf tournament. And they didn't advertise that you couldn't see up here, so Vertical Bridge, if you guys are out there, their executive team put together another huge check, and that was from Hip National Bank. As time goes on, the Tower Family Foundation will probably be the best thing I was ever a part of, so thank you for that. So, we did past, okay? Industry at large, talk about the present. I'm a builder and I represent builders, and so to represent the builders by table, you got Legacy, you got Intertech, you got Nate, Tower Family Foundation, and my family, okay? Team Legacy, I still want 15% next year, okay? And perfect is still good enough. So that's present. Eastex, Mountain Wireless, Intertech Resources, CMS, let's keep this machine rolling together. Team Intertech specifically, I sat down in a pickup with Eric Chase, very first time I ever met him, and he looked at me and he said, I think that we can build something special. You probably don't remember this, but you said, I think that we can build something special, but it's got to start with safety and continue with humanity. And dude, you were right. Thank you. He's my dream builder, in case you don't know. So to our clients, I don't care if you're from Western Wireless or VoiceStream, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, well, maybe not Sprint. T-Mobile, thank you. You've put food on the tables for so many families. You've blessed all of us, and we love you. Going forward, we got to go forward. Okay? So they got me on a clock. So going forward, Team Legacy, we're not done yet. There's lots of opportunity to capitalize, and perfect is still Perfect is still good enough. Team Intertech, we are not done yet. There are some places that we need to go and we need to grow. And hey, let's just dominate the world. As long as we're going to do it, let's do it right. Nate, we're not done yet. We're not done yet until every climber goes home safely. Tower Family Foundation, we're not done yet. We are not done until every family is cared for. NWSA, until every climber has the dignity of our collective efforts that were reflected in their portable credentials. You're rocking it. Tate, we're not done yet as an industry until we fight together to create education to fight human trafficking, because our people are all over the country. And as long as we can do that, we can actually do some more good in this world. To the industry at large, I tell you this, we're not done yet. We're not done yet until we win the race to 5G and 6G and 7G and on and on and on, because it's our duty. I'm not done yet either. I have the best job in the world, and somebody asked me on the elevator, I must look like an old guy, because they said, "You're retired, right?" And I'm like, kind of. And they said, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "Well, I still help out at Legacy, except these young bucks, they're trying to run me off. And I try to help out at Intertech, and are we trying to run me off yet? I don't know. But I'm kind of an ambassador, so I can get away with a lot. And it's really fun. I got the greatest job in the world. So as our brand ambassador, I can tell you that our Intertech team is truly making a difference from Miami to Seattle and everywhere south of that line. We're taking care of 750 climbers' families, and that's a great, great gig. So thank you to the folks out there, and pass this along to the folks who build and maintain the wireless networks that we all enjoy. And remember, you don't get 5G till a tower climber says you get 5G. Thank you very much to the Wireless History Foundation. It's obvious now you don't know what you're doing. Thanks to my 5 kids and 14 grandkids. You spent a lot of time waiting at the dinner table for the old man to come home. Finally, again, thank you, Sarah. You're still my dream girl. And as I walk out of here tonight, know that I'm a grateful man. I've got the best family, the best job, and the best friends in the world. I count a lot of you, well, most all of you among them. And as I close our company call every week, let's choose safety today. This is Jim, and I am out.
So Ari is an uplifting presence in so many ways, but one of them is his sense of style. Anybody who knows Ari or sees him or works with him knows that he is one of the best dressed individuals that I know. And in fact, to such a degree that he starts gradually lifting the boats of everybody around him. We were not necessarily known for our sense of style, and suddenly we're all much better dressed and really focus more on how we present in our wardrobe. And I love that about Ari.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chairman of the board of directors for AT&T, Bill Kennard.
Good evening and welcome to the Wireless History Foundation's Super Spreader event of 2021. I don't know about you, I haven't been out like this in a long time. My social skills were rusty in the cocktail hour. I'm still kind of getting up to speed. But I'm really happy to be out. I'm happy to be here. I served as chairman of the FCC under Bill Clinton, and I proudly serve now as chairman of the board of AT&T. And I'm really happy to be here tonight to be able to honor my good friend, Ari Fitzgerald. I know this guy really well because I hired him to be my legal advisor when I was chairman of the FCC. And I later promoted him to be deputy chief of the International Bureau, because I know Ari's first love is international. And he did a wonderful job. And when I talk about Ari to my wife and kind of proudly refer to him as my protege and stunt double, my wife is always quick to point out that she was the first one to discover Ari, because she actually hired him. She worked years ago at the State Department, Legal Advisor's Office, and she actually discovered Ari and gave him a job at the State Department, and that's how I learned about Ari. So I had my eye on him for quite a long time. But I'm so proud of what he's accomplished in his career. He, you know, when you're chairman of the FCC and you're on the 8th floor, can you still call it the 8th floor? What do we call it now? The 10th floor or 9th floor? I don't know. But, you know, when you're trying to get these items done, you have to send your legal advisors out to deal with all the other commissioners' offices and to get the edits and get their votes. And Ari was so good at that, because not only did he impress everybody with his intellect, but he's a kind of guy that people are drawn to. People listen to him, he listens to them, he's able to drive consensus, and of course that's how you get things done, is you just bring everybody together. And that's a skill that's sort of innate with Ari Fitzgerald. We accomplished a lot when he was there. We did the Spectrum auctions when they were still in their infancy, which was, you know, now they happen all the time. It was really difficult in the beginning to design those auctions and to pull them off. I felt very passionate as chairman that we were going to do a lot to bridge the digital divide, not only in the U.S. and around the world, and I could not have accomplished what we accomplished without Ari Fitzgerald and the work that he did, not only in this country, but all around the world. So I'm not surprised that he left the FCC and is now leading one of America's finest law firms. And I also like him because he usually takes my advice, but not always. I remember when he left the FCC and we sat down and I was going to give him some advice about law practice and how to make it out in the private sector. And I remember I told him, I said, Ari, now, when you go to law practice and you go back to the FCC as a lobbyist, you have to be careful never to wear a tie that is more expensive than the suits that you used to wear when you were a government lawyer. And he ignored my advice completely, as you will see. So I'm just so proud to be able to present this award to Ari. And one thing you should know about Ari, and I think this will be his most important legacy, he has spent a huge amount of his time mentoring young lawyers who want to get involved in the communications law field. It's a passion for him. He spent a lot of time also with the Multicultural Media and Telecom Council, which is an advocacy group many of you know about that works to advocate for diversity in the communications world. And I do believe that one of the lasting legacies of Ari Fitzgerald will be the work that he has done to make this a more inclusive and diverse industry. So Ari, I'm so proud. Come on up here and get this award. I guess we're going to hear a film about you, but I'm really, really excited to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, I was born in Southern Virginia to loving parents who cared a lot about education. I did have the example of my father who did get his PhD, became a psychology professor, and my mother, I think what she gave me was just a passion for people. Right after graduating from college, I went to Southeast Asia. That experience had a huge impact on me. Being in a country that was transitioning from dictatorship to democracy really made me feel that I could make a difference as a lawyer. And then pretty much decided I was going to apply to law school. Took as many international law courses as I could. The judge I clerked for was one of the most amazing people. He's 90, I think he's 93 years old. He took such an interest. As I was coming to the end of my clerkship, he was asking me, what are you going to do? I think you should meet Senator Bradley. After meeting with him and his staff and learning what he was trying to do, I just figured that at that particular stage in my life, I could learn so much working for him, working on the issues that he cared about. The then general counsel at the FCC, Bill Kennard, was looking for people with some legal training. That's how I actually got to the FCC. Again, focusing on mainly international telecom and satellite, and I still had it in my mind, this is a way to really help facilitate development, facilitate the use of technology in economic development, especially outside the US and developing countries. I was very fortunate to be at the FCC at a time when they really ramped up their auctions program. Auctions for some of the most important spectrum. I know that that is spectrum that's being used today to provide very important wireless services. We started the development initiative at the FCC. We worked with a number of regulators, emerging regulators in Africa, South America, Central Europe, Southeast Asia. What we were trying to do was make sure that the proper policies were put in place to ensure that as many people as possible had access to affordable telecommunications. I am in awe of the people who built the wireless industry because I know the power of wireless technology to change people's lives for the better. Early on in my career at Hogan, I started doing work for GE. I didn't know this when I was at the FCC, but GE is the world's largest manufacturer of wireless medical telemetry equipment. We asked for and received some relief from the FCC's equipment authorization rules to allow GE to introduce new wireless medical telemetry equipment, and those products are still being used today to help medical professionals address COVID.
One of the great things about Ari is not only his professional accomplishments, but the way he's developed such a well-rounded life, both personally and in terms of civic giving. Ari gives back to his community every day with the same passion and skill that he brings to the workplace. Moreover, he's just the sort of friend that you want to have on your side no matter what you're doing.
Ari is a conciliator. He is a peacemaker. He wants people to be happy, but he also likes to ask tough questions and needle people to be better. He cares about investing in people, and he also cares about making sure that people are challenged and that they are doing the best they can, not just for themselves, but for others.
I got involved with Duke Ellington as a young lawyer who had just come back to Washington, I had no money, but looking for a way to sort of volunteer, and so I helped students who were interested in applying to college, and I want to do everything I can to make sure that this community supports that. I know that there were people who intervened in my life. I mean, I was very fortunate I had great parents, but I also had people who were not related to me who made a big difference in my life, my career. And I just feel like it's important for me to pay it forward as well.
Bill told me that my tie is nice. That means a lot. This is an amazing honor. I wrote a few words. So, first, I'd like to thank the Wireless History Foundation. I've attended many Hall of Fame dinners over the years and have great respect for Hall members. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would one day be inducted. I'd also like to congratulate my fellow inductees, Pat Reardon, Mark Crosby, and Jim Tracy for their lasting contributions to the wireless industry. Each has set a high standard for excellence in his field, and I'm honored to be associated with them. So please give them another round of applause, please. What excites me most about this gathering is the opportunity it affords to publicly thank some of the people who, at critical times, helped advance my career as a wireless attorney. And no one did that more than Bill Kennard. When Bill became FCC chairman in 1997, the internet was in its infancy, and the wireless internet did not exist. Serving as his wireless legal advisor was the highlight of my time at the FCC. His light touch regulatory approach and exclusive and flexible spectrum use policies really laid the foundation for the dynamic wireless sector we celebrate today. And once he established that framework in the US, he began exporting it to other countries. And the great thing about that was he allowed me to help him do that. During the 4 years I worked for Bill, he taught me many things about communications policy. But the most important lessons were about integrity, principle, and leadership. And again, I can't thank Bill enough for his guidance and support throughout my career and for being here tonight. So thank you again, Bill. Another sponsor of mine was Dale Hatfield. And I get choked up when I talk about this. I got to know Dale when he served as chief of the FCC's Office of Engineering and Technology under Bill. As my fellow legal advisor alums who are here tonight, Brian Tremont, Peter Tenhula, and Adam Krinsky, and we were a team, let me tell you, will attest, Dale taught me much of what I know about spectrum policy and was thankfully a very patient teacher. He taught me about RF interference and techniques for mitigation. We really do need receiver standards, people. He explained how wireless could help bridge the digital divide and increase network access for people with disabilities. He shared and supported my interest in working with regulators in developing countries. And after we had both left government, it was Dale who vouched for me with board members at Crown Castle. And we served together on Crown Castle's board for many years. And I can't thank him enough for his advice, friendship, and support. I left the FCC in 2001 to join the law firm of Hogan & Hartson, now Hogan Lovells. And the 20 years since has been a literal feast of wireless law and policy. I've worked with and learned from many clients whose ideas, innovations, and investments have changed the world in ways unimaginable back in the 90s. Some people say it's too daunting to establish oneself as a big firm wireless lawyer. That's bullshit. Excuse me. Every day I get to work alongside brilliant colleagues like Michelle Farquhar and notable experts on the new frontiers of wireless like my partner Trey Hanbury. And that's not daunting, that is a blessing. So I want to thank my colleagues from Hogan & Hartson who are here tonight. Now please give them a round of applause. They deserve it. Back in the 90s, Bill predicted that the digital and wireless revolutions would change society on a scale not seen since the Industrial Revolution, and he was certainly correct. Since then, wireless has emerged as not only an essential consumer service, but an enabler of almost every product we use, from connected cars and appliances to wireless sensors and medical devices. I've been fortunate to work with many of the people who made these products possible and can't wait to see what they come up with next following widespread deployment of 5G and 6G and 7G. The wireless future seems bright. If we follow Bill and Dale's example and look for opportunities to ensure that all segments of our society participate meaningfully in this bright future, perhaps when we convene again 20 or 25 years from now, it will be to celebrate the induction of individuals whose work was supported by this foundation, with the scholarships that Dale and Ted Rappaport mentioned earlier in the program. I hope that that happens. There are many more people here tonight who have helped guide my career. There's no way to thank you all by name, especially if we want to go home at a decent hour. But before I close, I want to call out at least two more people. First, my mother, Edna Fitzgerald, who is here tonight. Ma, would you stand, please? Please stand. Thank you. When she was pregnant with me, the doctor told her she was going to have twins. It turned out that my twin was actually a tumor that kept her hospitalized for several weeks after I was born and threatened her life at least once more afterward. Despite the difficulties I caused my mother early in our relationship, she forgave me and proceeded to give me and my siblings the best gift ever, the gift of joy. She is literally the most joyful person I know, and I want to thank her for being here tonight and to let her know how much I love her. And then finally, I want to thank the love of my life and my wife of 31 years, Maria Carmona. Maria has blessed me with 3 beautiful and very smart daughters, just like their mother. I doubt Maria and I thought much about what our lives would be like after 31 years of marriage when we fell in love many years ago. But one thing I can say for sure, there is no one who means more to me or whom I respect more than Maria. Maria, thank you for believing in me, and I love you. Now, I'm going to end by, to borrow a phrase from my Saturday Night Live legend Garrett Morris and also Chicago Cubs slugger Sammy Sosa. Wireless has been very, very good to me. So thank you for this wonderful honor.
And now, to close the evening, Wireless History Foundation board member and Wireless Hall of Fame member Arlene Harris, president of Dyna LLC.
Good evening. Hasn't it been a wonderful evening? It appears that you all clean up well. I had several people tell me that they didn't know what to wear tonight, and it took time to figure out, what does business dress mean? So it's really good to see you all dressed up. My assignment tonight is to sort out the end of the evening, but one of the things that wasn't on my list was a thank you to the wonderful team of gals and guys that put this dinner on. So, Jen, I don't know if you can see them. Turn up the lights. Jen and Linda. It really was, you can imagine, I don't know how many of you have been to programs that may be spreader events, but this is the first time we've been out in an event like this, and I imagine many of you, this is the first time, so it really has been a real inspiration, especially seeing a lot of our old friends, our old longtime friends, our longtime friends. So I hope that we can look forward to your help in the future Wireless History Foundation events, the scholarships, and et cetera. The sponsors tonight have been extremely helpful, so we'd really like to give them another round of applause. There were several large donors. The history of this industry is incredibly rich. I think many of you know, not just our current, with the current group that we have, listening to their stories, there are hundreds of stories like that, people that have made this industry great. people that have made many sacrifices, have come through years and ages of issues that have come before the industry. One of the things I thought we might do that also wasn't on my schedule, the FCC provides us with, well, they give us our sort of natural resources. They're managing that. And there are probably 50 people in the audience tonight that are either at the commission today or have been at the commission. And I just wonder if you could all stand up and give them a round of applause. There are they've done an incredible job. It's been 5 decades, 6 decades of wireless, personal wireless devices in the paging business, and then in cellular. So they've provided us with lots of opportunity. So let me now let you hear about the folks that have gotten this award in the past. We have a large group tonight, so if you'll just stay seated and keep your applause until I'm done, that would be lovely, and we can move along. Barry Edelman, Pat Sipo, stand up, Barry. I can't see. And stay standing, please. My other half, Marty Cooper. Brian Fonts at our table. Please stand up. Dale Hatfield. You've heard from Dale earlier. Liz Maxfield. Another gal pal. Larry Motion. Morgan O'Brien. Ted Rappaport. Richard Sherwin. Raj Singh. John Stanton. Charlie Townsend. Any of you know Tom Wheeler? Tom and Dick Wiley, our senior. And the 4 new inductees. Can you stand, and we'll give you all an applause. And then if the former awardees could come to the stage, we're going to have a photo. The evening isn't over yet. I'm sure you still have more visiting to do. And that's going to take place outside, and we'll have cocktails for another hour. So please enjoy the evening and have a great time and a great 2022. Good night.